Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Kyle Wright 425 podcast. I am your host, Kyle Wright, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, Eric. Make your presence known.
There we are.
Water. Yes, the fruit of life that gives, life.
Yeah,
It's-
does it take it? Well, yeah, it does if you drowned.
Yeah, what is it? It's like only like a cup of water that's needed to drown you, so that's why the ocean scares me.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus, here we go.
So we want to begin the show properly. That we want to just let you guys know that if you're not following us on Spotify, you definitely should be doing that. That way you guys can get the early access to the podcast before it's on YouTube. And then also, if you are not subscribed
Listen to us twice.
Listen, yeah, 2 times. That's right. Because you get an audio and then you get a visual a
Right.
couple days later.
Way
yeah.
cooler.
Yeah. You can see what's happening.
Yeah.
See, right now I'm doing things with my hands. You can't see that on Spotify. You can see it on YouTube. So
And you couldn't see me just zone out right there either. So you'll have to go watch us on YouTube.
That's right. You better,
fuckers.
yeah, for all you know, we could have lied.
Right.
None of that could have happened. You'll never know unless if you see it on YouTube. So, with that being
Kyle,
said,
put your shirt back on.
make sure you guys are subscribing and hitting that notification bell. That's the best way to keep up with what we're doing here on
Absolutely.
the interwebs. If you are liking the show and if you want to support us, you can support us on Patreon and then also on Anchor. Links will be below, as well as the article that we'll be referring to tonight and any other content that we bring up. We do our best to make sure we link everything that way you guys can see what we're talking about. So, yeah, it's going to be a good one tonight.
I'm always impressed how well you get through that with nothing in front of you to read off of.
I just honestly, it comes from years of just watching YouTube videos and just having it
does.
ingrained. So yeah,
But at the same time, you're saying that which is yours, not somebody else's. It's
Oh.
easier. Never mind.
No, I appreciate it. That's really cool. You know,
No, I
it's
was just saying that
he
really is
he
impressive.
gave me a little butter up
Don't
there.
make
so.
it weird. I'm just kidding.
So okay. So tonight's topic is technology.
Right.
Now, this isn't just, talking about, the new age things. This is talking about, the progression of like how we got to where
Yes.
we are. And
This
just
was-
how
this-
impressive it is.
This was a little more my idea, but you seem a little more prepared than I do, just because of the fact you print shit out like a.
Well, I mean, this what I got tonight is an article. I set my water down without it spilling. So this is from, I hope I'm saying this right. Again, this will be linked in the description on YouTube if you guys want to find this article. But this is just the bullet points from it, and it's a timeline from the earliest recorded idea of what technology was. So, like, we're not going to get into this particularly right now. But so this is 3.3 million years ago, the first tools. The first tools of mankind
Okay.
and what they
I
made,
see what
like
you're saying.
like the knife, the wheel, like things like that.
Yeah.
And how humanity has essentially progressed to the point now that with the very much like the technology we're using to make this very show.
Yeah.
So just
It's crazy.
we may get super in depth. It may just be a talk about how cool Android phones are. I don't know. Like we'll see what happens. But with that being said, is that what was on your mind when you think technology? Like what were you like? What was the I don't know, inspiration, or like what was something that like really made you want to talk about this, and thus what did you want to talk about?
When I remember back, like everything over my life, as far as a gadget, a video game, a whatever have you, something along those lines. There was always something so cool and it was breaking, all the boundaries of everything every time something came out. And that was always mind-boggling to me that they always up the ante.
Yeah.
And I remember one thing that always stuck out in my mind. Now, this isn't my memory, but this is kind of sort of where I realized how far we had come. I do work at Verizon. Obviously, I sell phones, the smartphones, high-end phones, shit phones, whatever. Like, there are some bad ones out there still that just don't do hardly anything, but they cost nearly nothing. So, again, I get that part. And this is where we're going to talk about the advancement over cost and what you get, even like from where I work as far as a phone. Now, the story that I'm going to tell you real quick is a couple years old. And it wasn't me, but it was a good friend of mine that this happened to. I was there for it. Long story short, a friend of mine, Will, he was selling to an older couple. When I say couple, like they had been married like 70 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I remember hearing him talk to them because they came in wanting to get some new phones. They wanted to kind of advance a little bit on, just having a home phone. So anyways, what ended up happening was he got to the part of we were having a sale on a tablet, and it was just a promotion. You got a free tablet at the time, blah, blah, blah. When he was talking to, I believe his last name, or his first name was Gunther.
That's such a manly name.
Oh, man.
Gunther.
He was, you could tell just by even his age at that time. He, like I said, he had to have been, I swear he said he was almost 90.
Wow.
And what had happened is that Will was explaining the tablet to him, and he wasn't understanding it first. Neither one of them were. And I don't think they really understood the smartphones because they do the same thing. But,
right.
But
you get one down, you can pretty much get the other.
Yeah. But what it was is the big screen. Is what he told him is he said with this tablet, he said, does your wife, take up the TV? He was just being funny. He was like, well, yeah, she watches, not Hallmark. It was like the Home Shopping or something like that.
Home Shopping Network, yeah.
Or something, or the Home and Gardens. That's what it was.
Oh, Home and Gardens.
HGTV.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's like, all the time. And he was like, well, you can go and you can be sitting next to her or go in another room with this tablet and watch whatever it is you want to watch. And he literally sat back. It blew him away. He said, I can watch the History Channel at the same time as she's watching. And he said, yes, sir.
Man.
It blew his mind that he could hold something and walk around, sit next to her, walk in another room, go to bed, drive. Not drive, but be in a car. Like,
we do not condone watching iPads and driving. So.
But no, it literally blew his mind. He had been, I don't want to say under a rock, but he didn't pay attention to technology like that. And even though he had children, his children were more than grown. You got to figure at that age, they're older than us, So he didn't pay attention to that shit. Yeah. By the time his kids were grown, it probably wasn't as advanced, but that was the moment I realized, one of the moments I realized how far technology had come.
Yeah.
Because when you sit there and think, shit, not even 30 years ago when I was a kid, before I was even 5 years old, 10 years old, we didn't have stuff like that.
No.
We both literally watched this evolve in front of us. Even just with phones.
On the simplest of things is, I think we talked about it on the podcast before, but the first DVD that my dad brought home, which was
The Hunt for Red October. God fucking damn it.
It is. I don't know. I've never actually sat down and watched the full film. It's
probably really good now that we're adults.
Yeah, but at the time, no.
I was like, you got to be shitting me.
Like, couldn't you get like something like, I don't know, like not
Forrest Gump?
I would rather watch Forrest Gump than watch Hunt for the Red October.
Yeah, come on, man.
No, but the one that actually stuck out to me the most was actually Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That was the other one that he had brought home. Yo, bro, what you doing, man?
What is happening?
You wanting to chill?
Hey.
You can actually see Thor tonight whenever he's sitting there. Hi, Buzz. I know.
Don't lick me in the mouth. All right. Well, can I take a drink of my weird water here?
Oh, yeah, it's okay, Buzz. It's okay. He just
you're
talking into a mic. He doesn't know what's going on. So.
He sees this twice a week.
I think he's finally paying attention. I think that's what's happening. But yeah, so.
But no, okay, even as something as simple as I'm recording our video to upload to a internet site.
Yeah.
With my phone.
Yeah. That's insane.
Do you remember when phones had cords? They didn't have visuals like Star Trek?
They didn't.
They didn't.
They didn't.
They had, at least they had the balls to give you a 60-foot cord.
Dude, I'm actually my biggest memory about a corded phone was Aunt Heidi's corded phone that she had. That
Oh,
super
yes.
long thing.
Yeah.
Because I remember Mom had that one friend of hers that she would talk to that she met through the internet. It was a younger. I think it was like a teenage girl that she had met in like a Bay City Rollers like thing or whatever. And Mom was like, "You need to be careful in these chat rooms," like, because she didn't understand like the severity of it. And she was a talker. She was a major talker.
I do remember her.
Yeah.
She was awesome, actually. Her and Mom became really good friends. And again, technology. Remember when she used to talk to Taz? It was the WCW wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just, again, technology, when you can sit behind even a computer. AIM. Remember fucking AIM?
That was the pinnacle of online communication at that point.
Oh.
And actually,
That was the first like texting.
the cool thing was that I don't know if anybody will remember this, and if you do, comment below if you're listening this far. But do you remember that movie Cry Wolf?
No.
Okay. Cry Wolf is actually one of my favorite kind of sleeper films because it really didn't do that well.
Clearly, I'm going to toot my own horn, but I know a lot of movies.
Cry Wolf is a movie that will keep you guessing until the end. It is very good. It's actually one of Jared Padalecki's older films. He's not the main star. He's like a side character.
Okay.
But it's the quick rundown of the plot, just so that way you understand what, the thing is here, why this is relative to AIM, is that the trailer for it was a messenger screen. And it was this screen name that was like Cry Wolf 35 or whatever, and it said, "Hi Tara," or whoever, and it went, "Okay, haha, who is this?" And it says, "I killed your best friend." And it's like, okay, like it's enough of a joke, like who is this? And it's like, you should look out your window.
So kind of like Scream.
In a way, it was a very, very different thing. But what it was that the movie opens up with somebody being chased in the woods, kind of stereotypical slasher, and they have their cell phone on them. The killer calls their cell phone, and then they made the mistake of leaving it on, ring, so they hear it, and then the slash happens, and the opening title, Cry Wolf. But what's crazy is that it really capitalized on the idea of the instant messaging thing that was brand new at the time. And here's the crazy thing, is that in the film, this group of college kids, they basically play this game. They go to this abandoned chapel, and I think there's like 7 or 8 of them, and essentially one of them becomes the wolf, and it becomes a game of lying. So one person, the main head of the group, basically has everybody shut their eyes, and they make a mark on their chest with lipstick. So basically, it's the idea of that you're the wolf. You have to not be caught. You have to stay completely hidden, and you have to lie. So it's this idea that these 8 people are then interrogating each other. It's like, so, no, I think you're the wolf. No, I am not the wolf. I could bet my life savings on the fact that I'm not a wolf.
How old is this?
It was probably like 10 years ago. It was a while ago.
Okay.
But the reason I bring all that up to explain it is that essentially what it was that they made a game out of it on a website. I don't even know if it's still something you can find, but you were thrown into a chat room with 8 people that you didn't know. Everybody took an avatar from somebody in the movie, like the stud, the Texan, the hot chick, like whatever. And essentially days would pass every like 2 to 3 minutes. And at the end of the day, someone would get killed, and then whoever made it through the next side, it's like, okay, so that person obviously wasn't the wolf.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Yeah.
Here's the crazy part. AIM Messenger was not connected to it. You could connect with everybody else on AIM Messenger and talk behind the scenes behind this website, essentially, and work together to figure out who the wolf is.
Interesting.
So all that being said, like, that's kind of like, I miss that kind of stuff. Where
that
it's
was
like,
almost like the first online gameplay, like Call of Duty and Halo and stuff, where you could have your lobby of people that you talk to while it's not with the other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, but no, just Cry Wolf in its own. To me, it was a one-timer because once you know the ending, it kind of ruins everything.
Yeah.
But when you don't know the ending, it's really good. But it just obviously it left a lasting impression on me because it's like not only was it a great film, but it's like it took something that I was so used to, which was AIM Instant Messenger. And it's that idea of what if you get a message from somebody you don't know.
It pertained to you in a way that made it interesting because it's something that you did.
Yeah. So,
Now here was another thing, because I don't want to focus. I'm going to try not to focus too much on the phone thing, but it is something I deal with 40 plus hours a week as my job.
right.
When it does irritate me a little bit when, even if it's the older crowd, no matter what age group or crowd it is, that nobody thinks of it this way, and that I have to break it down. When somebody complains about a price on a phone, whether it's $1,000, $1,500, or $300 full retail for a phone, because we have that. They're still smartphones, and they're good. They're decent. But when a customer goes, I would never spend $1,300 on the new Samsung. Well, let me just put it to you this way, pal. 10 years ago, you had because I did. You had a $500 digital camera. You had a $300 brick phone. And you had a $400, $500, $600, $700 laptop or computer.
Yeah.
Okay, well, put all that shit together, man. And it's in your and sorry, a flat screen TV at the time.
Yeah.
Now you have that in your pocket that makes phone calls and does everything, gets on the internet. So when you sit there and tell me $1,500 for a phone is too much money, no, it really isn't.
No.
It's a hard pill to swallow at first.
Yeah.
But when you really think about it, I capture my child's memories and first things of everything through that right there, a phone.
Yes. Yeah.
For the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I literally used to watch your father hold a fucking camera like this, like he was Steven fucking Spielberg.
They always act like they're Vito Ficcaroni, you know. It's like, or whatever the hell his name is, you know, like they're doing those.
Oh, and it
camera
was cutting edge.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was cutting edge, and you put the VHS in there and slapped it shut. You did all that. Oh yeah, and zoom and all that cool stuff. No, the technology that has progressed over the years is astounding in even my lifetime.
Yeah.
Think about the people that are Gunther's age, grandma's age.
Yeah.
80, 90 plus years old. Sometimes it does make sense to me when an older person comes in and does not understand their phone. It can be frustrating.
Oh, yeah, and
but the technology is, they don't know to just, what do you mean touch and move?
This is what I will say is that there was somebody that I talked to that they basically were telling me about a coworker in the field that was a very old dog. And it basically came down to that this person was so frustrated with everything that was going on at this, convention that they were doing this teaching of like these new classes and stuff for like business and everything. Because I've rubbed shoulders with a lot of people in different, like companies and everything. And it was really interesting to hear this. And this guy was sitting in the audience with his laptop open and just staring. And just listening to what this guy said, like, hey, this is how we use this. This is how, like, we've simplified it. This is it's easy as a button push. It's this, it's that, and also you can add on this to help with your sales. This guy cornered him after and said, "You mean to tell me you want me to do all this stuff on a computer and I can't even move my mouse?" And he's like, I can never find the damn thing. He's like, it's always everywhere. I just can't. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm hearing this and I'm like, okay, so you clearly are working for a company that has completely advanced everything, and yet you can't use a mouse. Like, at first I got really, really like defensive when I heard that. I'm like, that guy's an idiot. Like, whatever. But no, this guy is an old dog. Like, he has, like, when he places orders for his shipments, or like what he does, because he works in the field, he has a book that he will go through page by page and mark an X next to what he wants.
Yep.
And that's how he's always done business since the 70s. That's how he's done it. And it's one of those things where, like, I think that there are some people that just throw their arms up and, like, just like in defeat whenever something new comes in.
Yes.
And it's those people they frustrate me. But in the same hand too is that, for instance, my boss is, he's an older dog, but the thing is that
he's kept up with
dude,
everything.
The guy is one of the
told
most
me stories, yeah.
One of the most advanced people when it comes to technology. Like when we were setting up our Google Homes, I was asking him, I was like, hey, what do you think about like doing this or doing that? And he went, well, he's like, I use, Apple, but he's like, but what I enjoy is that he's like, I would love to have my entire house as a smart house. And I went, what do you mean? And he went, well, think about it. He's like, I want to be able to sit in my car, and when I'm on my way home, go, hey Siri, do this. And it's like, or hey Siri, I'm on my way home. And he said, when I walk in, certain music will be playing. He's like, the fireplace will already be lit. He wanted to go full Monty. And I asked him, I'm like, aren't you scared of somebody hacking your stuff? And he looked at me. He's like, who's gonna hack me?
That's not actually my biggest. If a hacker wants to hack me, you can have it, dude.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, and I don't mean this. If he sees this, I don't mean this because of you directly. To me, that's lazy as fuck. I'm saying as far as I love technology.
Yeah.
I have a very strong love-hate just because technology frustrates the shit out of me all day because of my job. But technology is really awesome. I feel doing certain things like that, like I can turn my own damn light on, man. I can I can turn my stove on. I can do what I use technology for is I was actually thinking about this before we even came on, and again, I'm not trying to harp on a phone, but even at that, I watched you physically look. We both did it. I watched my daughter while I was here, and you were on Skype with somebody. We were physically looking at each other, talking again, like something you saw in Star Trek. But not only that, you were on Skype. I had my my phone on a link with headphones that were not attached to anything, walking around
Bluetooth.
walking around the basement.
Yeah.
Nothing attached to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was crystal clear.
Yeah.
That is where we have come with anything. Like, even think about when I was a kid, as far as, again, okay, let's go to music. Let's switch to music real quick. Is that you had to first buy A-tracks.
Yeah.
And then records. And then it was cassette tapes. Then it was CDs. And then it was digital. I remember burning CDs.
That was the thing, man.
That took days to get songs.
That was, dude, that is.
But you did it.
What I remember is giving my computer AIDS with LimeWire. So
we all did that, and Napster.
And did you ever branch out to FrostWire?
I did, and BearShare.
I never used BearShare.
That was a hot second, but again, okay. So going back to like the Napster, LimeWire, like all that stuff. I even remember when I was a teenager-ish, when you could go to the CD stores,
FYE and like all
Coconuts
those,
and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And when they had it was so advanced when you could walk in and take the CD and put on headphones and then scan it and then get like a 35-40 second of each track.
That shit used to piss me off because I'm like, I want to hear all of Eiffel 65's Blue. I can't afford this, So I'd be in there like scanning it over and go, 45 seconds. Pop.
I used to do the same thing, but then, then LimeWire came out and Napster came out first. But then it was, so you mean to tell me, because Kyle Wright 425 has Bone Thugs and Harmony's East 1999, and I don't. But he put it in his computer and then uploaded it somehow to wherever. Like, I never understood how that worked when I was a kid, and it's like how the internet like worked.
Yeah.
And it was mind blowing to me that I could sit there for free. I could, rip artists off of money, but I could make my own mix. I didn't have to buy or get a CD that I only liked 6 songs out of 15.
Yeah,
And we talked about how I've never really thoroughly enjoyed an album front to back. So that was huge for me.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me I could take Master P's top 5 songs over here, mix them with the 2 Shania Twain songs I like, then go back to 3 6 months. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that was epic to me.
That is such a cool thing because of the fact that it gave you a sense of freedom that you didn't have before.
It did.
And I remember getting so into making mixes that there are some mixes that I know for a fact I've lost. And it's like, man, it's like I remember like that was like pinnacle for my childhood.
It was, dude. And I actually used to have them. Ironically enough, when we were at Aunt Heidi's, so when I lived at Aunt Heidi's too, and that was kind of around that time, I had that CD book.
Yeah.
And it was just fire mixes after fire mixes that I had made over like the past like 3 years. If I had that shit now, dude, it would implode the universe from my DJing skills. Like, no, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at least for me, but it's one of those. I love getting on YouTube, and every once in a while something will happen, and it'll bring up an old like song or an old band or an old rapper or this song or whatever it is. I'm like, oh man, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And then you go back and technology, think about that. I don't have those things anymore. No. I don't have the Marshall Mathers LP, but I can still go listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah, Spotify. It's like, SoundCloud, like all that stuff. Yeah.
I don't own The Office, but I can put it on Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it is fucking crazy what has happened.
Now, the avenue of this, of what impresses me about technology, I mean, and it's going to be no-brainer because obviously the film mind, and everything that comes with that. But when you take this a step further of looking at, okay, well, I'm trying not to talk about it so much, but it's like The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, because we were going to get on video games.
Right. Let's obviously there's a huge ass controversy with it right now.
There really is.
I have not yet finished the game. I'm probably
close.
I'm about 5 to 10 hours away from being
I would
done.
say you're real close.
I will say this. I understand why everybody hates it. I think you and I even had a conversation the other night where I was like, God, I just want to get past this part. Like I'm kind of over this.
And I understand what that part. Yeah,
but
I get it.
Throw all that to the side. Throw all that away. Devin and I sat down here, which he may end up being the person that either I talk to or all three of us or whatever when I do the review of it.
Oh, I'm going to play it. I'm going to cram through it before we go through it.
Right. And which, I mean, that can be done pretty much any time. But it's what's so interesting is that so Devin sat exactly right where you are. Mm-hmm. I was sitting here. And we, every time we would die, we would trade off, and we would just, do the Wright brother thing, not WRI, but Wright brother thing. But there is a scene in particular that was so emotionally hard to watch, and it's not the scene in the beginning of the game that everybody hates.
Right.
There's this you'll know it when it comes up, and I was telling my boss, and I think I told you and everybody else that it's like, Naughty Dog developed a system for tears.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that this character looks at the other character, and you can tell that they are trying so hard not to break, and they're just trying to talk. And it's that moment of like of when they're like, just like, I think the way that what made me realize how far we have come is that when the angle had switched over to the opposite person, I'm not going to obviously ruin anything for anybody, but when it came to that person that was being questioned, and I'm not kidding here, and I'm sorry for anybody on Spotify. I'm just I'm trying to explain what I was seeing. This character did this. I'm taking off my glasses. You can see my bags and everything, but but this character did this. And they started talking. you could see the way their throat moved. You could see the tears that were welling up, the way their lips pursed. And I looked at this and I'm like, they don't want to say what they're about to say.
Right.
And this is how far we have come, is that we are literally capturing audio, facial, and body movement at the exact same time. It is mind-blowingly good.
Take all that out. Even take out the game. Fuck it. Take out the video game perspective in general. Look at what's happened. I don't care how shitty it looked at the beginning. Green screen. A fucking green background.
Yeah.
And look at what they have done with everything with that.
Yeah. When green screen is composited correctly, it is so good.
Now, I had to, it was just in my mind, and I was like, I don't want to lose it. But okay, so going back to video games, so just talking about what you said about The Last of Us, which is 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the most advanced looking games I've ever seen on a PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, I've got a surprise for you. I brought something home today that I forgot about.
What did you do?
But we have talked about. I remembered to grab the Sega.
No.
I had the Sega Genesis.
Oh my goodness. I'm not playing Aladdin. It's not happening. Dude, I'm still angry about that. It's been 20
Echo
years.
The dolphin.
Echo?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so this is so interesting too, because we have such advanced technology. We literally just talked about a video game that portrays tears and facial right.
Mm-hmm.
But yet we're not so closed-minded where it's like, dude, like we grew up on that stuff.
Yes.
Like I don't care how lesser it is. Like it's like, dude, like I remember that. I remember what that was like.
It takes you back to where it all kind of became for us. Now, granted, I am older than you, so I do recall other video game systems prior, but so sorry guys, it is the like mini one that has like the 80 preloaded games. It's not the original like Sega.
I'll take what I can. I mean, because I'll take what I can get, because even with Christie's Super Nintendo Classic,
it's the little one, and it's the same thing. You can still put physical games in it.
Oh my god,
so
cool.
Now, I know we've talked about this on another podcast.
Keep talking. I'm just checking your phone.
No, that's fine. Why? What's happening?
I'm just making sure it's still recording. So just keep talking.
Oh, okay. And I hope it should be. Everything good? No.
It went black, so I didn't know.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So.
No, is it still recording?
I can't tell. This
Hold on a second, guys.
Okay, we are back. We ironically had technical difficulties tonight talking about technology.
Anyway,
so that should be a GIF.
Planned.
That should be a GIF. And the memes begin.
So what I was originally getting at was when it comes to video games and with the cartridges and all that stuff. Now, this is also where it made me think of advancements too. My stepdaughter is about to be 9, and when you were talking about The Last of Us, you had said, how advanced it is and like just how intricate the game is, all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know we've talked about this before briefly on another podcast, but she can play Spider-Man, like the new Spider-Man game.
Oh, yeah.
The new Last of Us would probably be nothing to her, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I have watched her whoop my ass in Mortal Kombat a couple of times without me letting her win, honestly. I let her play the Sega and played Sonic over and A.
That's it.
Pretty much couldn't fucking do it. Died every time halfway through the level. Like she physically, it was so simple. It was hard.
I would look at old video games kind of like the Apple of video games, and then like the Android of them is the more like the consoles, the more intense, because it is deceptively simple. it is one of those things where it's like all I got to do is jump over this lava, or all I got to do is like,
Yeah.
but, and it's like how infuriating is it like when you die in those games? You're like, dude, this is a side scroller. Like, why is this giving me so many issues?
And you know what's so funny is that the games that she plays is, yes, it can be simple-minded, but when it comes to certain games, like even like Mortal Kombat, Spider-Man, just to name a few, that is multiple combinations of both fingers.
Yeah.
It is not just one side, XXXXY, and then, you know what I mean, or whatever, and I just mixed up two different controllers right there. I said XXXY. But, you know, and even your other thumb, it's more advanced than it ever was when we were kids.
Yeah.
And especially now, I got her the Switch this last Christmas, and think about it. You went from having a video game that had cords that you plugged in and you could only stand and sit, what was it, 5 feet, 6 feet away, to now not only wireless controllers, but a fucking game system that you can plug into a dock and it comes up on your TV.
Oh,
Pull
yeah.
it out, and now it's a handheld.
Switch.
What are you saying to me right now? And it's a touch screen.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
That is, I fully believe, other than the graphics are still, but it's great. It's still an advancement of that, but it's still very kid-ish,
Yeah.
childlike. But the Switch is completely ahead of its time.
It is. I feel like that's going to become the future of consoles.
It's got to.
It's well, and I think that I think it can, or let me say it like this. I think it can be the future of consoles.
No,
because,
it has to be.
Well, think about this: the PS5 and the Xbox. What is it? X Series or Series X?
Series X. I think.
Yeah. Which I mean, that shows.
I don't know because I'm not gonna fucking buy it.
No, because it's
PlayStation, baby.
That's this is a PlayStation household, except for the Xbox 360 that's upstairs. That's for Borderlands. Now, so see, everything has a purpose.
Yeah.
No, but it is wild to me to see even the stuff that the PS5 has cranked out and how they've shown even something as simple in the demo as like the bats systematically.
Oh, yeah.
They systematically a background like asset that's not even near you. It's up in the cave and you can miss it if you don't even look at it. The AI is more advanced in the bats and how they communicate with each other with real echolocation within the confines of the 3D world. Like that is just a set piece or animals that are in the world. And it's like
Dude, that is fucking crazy.
So, also, and the dynamic audio too. They said that wherever you are in the world with this new engine, that it is a systematic systematic system. I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, so essentially what it does is that it is completely dependent on where you are.
Oh,
It's so like, for instance,
I see what you're saying. It's like if I'm standing over there and you yell, "Hey, dinner's ready," or if I'm standing right there in the game and you say, "Hey, dinner's ready," it's going to sound different.
yes, and it's
because
the way
of how it's bouncing.
And the way that they portrayed it was with the whoever this character is in this game test demo footage or whatever they did.
That's right. It's not even
play
sure
it.
if it's a game.
Yeah, I don't know if it was developed specifically just to show off everything.
Right.
But they were talking about, they were like, yeah, notice how the water and the rocks are falling and how those have their own systems to them of how they create noise. And also the physics are a whole different system that also implies that and then creates that audio that we've made that is now dynamic and three-dimensional.
That takes
That's
even just the sound itself has to take so much time. Now, it's not as crispy looking or as, even the sound, but even think of this, video games. I don't have one. I've said it before. I need one. I do not care if I do have to spend it on the PS5. I need a VR.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care if people are like, "Oh, the games are shit," though, in the comments or whatever, because I've heard that they're not the greatest. I don't care. Again, that's the part of technology that, I don't have it yet, but that's the part of technology like I have to have.
Yeah, and it's so
because I love watching like the old people play it.
Yeah, that's always fun.
So real to them.
Especially to I can't remember what the video game is or like what the actual name of it is, but Markiplier actually got his hands on one of the first like VR sets and stuff that or VR games that was like it was truly dynamic. Like you actually could look around, like all your movement was based on the controller, but your head, like all the motion, you know, was that. Which now apparently they're developing a walking system for VR, which can be done with your feet while you're sitting down. So
I wonder if you just gotta kind of like.
Oh no! It's what it is that it's actually so imagine kind of like one of those like roly poly things or whatever. It has like that like curvature on the bottom. So essentially, what it is that it has a platform with a circle in the middle that I think like has a rise to it, and you put your feet on it, and basically it works like a ginormous like pedal. So you push your feet forward, it pushes you forward. If you push back, it stops you, and then you can go backwards, and you can go left and right and everything like. It is they're talking about the idea that this very well could be the future of what video gaming will be, is that you are completely immersed inside of this game or whatever game that is.
I saw this movie once.
All right. It's like Brain Scan or whatever. By the way,
Tron.
It's did you ever watch
Did you ever watch Black Mirror with the two guys got together? Yeah, two guys.
I don't want to talk about that. That was, by the way, that also was that was a fantastic that was a fantastic episode, but no. But
that's what I said. I've seen this one. No,
it just makes me think like I don't want to jump on a game with like Luke or somebody, and then like that's the no.
Man,
no.
Your boobs are amazing.
Thank you. Now, no, but it's so wild to me where like where things are headed and like how things are gonna go. Like even like people wanted Outlast to support VR, and
that would interest me.
Well. I can't remember if it was the developers or if it was just a like generic game developer. He said, "Do you understand how incredibly difficult and intense and motion sickness and disorienting that game would be if you were to do that?" And
that's why I want it.
It's now. Outlast freaks me out just anyway because it's the idea of like when you run that you can hold one of the triggers and look right behind you while you run and see how close like the enemies are behind you. So because essentially it's a mental institution. It's an asylum where these crazy people are chasing you. So it's like that alone is immersive enough for me. But if I was to be, dude, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could do it.
That's one of the biggest things that me and you differ on. It really is. That is one of the biggest things me and you differ on as far as video games go. Mm-hmm. Those survival games.
Oh yeah. Right.
Are garbage to me. Mm-hmm. I'm not wasting. I don't care how cool it looks. I'm not wasting $60 to not fight the fucking demon in front of me. I don't care if I have to right hook him 48 times. Even if I don't have a weapon, you're telling me this is strictly hide.
Yeah,
hide and seek,
hide and run. Yep, it is a hide and seek game.
That is boring as shit to me. But if you throw a VR 3D in that, okay, now you're talking my language here.
Right.
You've put me in it. You've put me in that. And if I don't care if I have to hit a stick or if I can do like that, if I can do that, yeah, that's fucking with me. And like you said, the motion sickness and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, that's what I'm here for.
I'm here to be miserable.
Yeah. Like, you don't go to a haunted house going, this is going to be lovely. You go to a haunted house going, I better fucking shit myself.
There's plenty of places like that. Which
and honestly, none of those will do anything for me because it's all fake at the end of the day.
What is your take on McKamey Manor?
I've watched that shit. Come on, dude. No.
Legal torture. It is legal torture. That it is actually a real like.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing: is number one, like when I say like, nah, I'm cool. Mm-hmm. You want to like, I'll touch you back, man.
See, I'm sorry, but like I know that I would never be able to do it because they would kick me out. Like I would get physical. I would yell. I would scream. Like you are not allowed to cuss. You are not allowed to talk back. And if you do, you will be punished. No, seriously. Like I remember one of them I've
seen them like the people with like it's always their lips. It's always their, which always intrigued me because why is it always just their mouth? That just tells me that they're just, I don't know. I don't know.
What would break me is if they were to one of the things I saw was that they put a girl inside of a freezer. I mean, it was unplugged, but it was like the idea they put her in there and they closed it and locked it, and she was freaking out trying to get out because she had claustrophobia. Like, that's like they will duct tape your face basically shut to where you can barely breathe, and then they will start what was it in the contract that you signed. I don't know how much of this is true, because I mean, there's been some things. Russ McCamey's been like, no, he's like, we do not allow stuff like this. But in the same hand, there's people that were like, no, I was there and this shit happened. What was
Again,
it?
that's good marketing,
Right. It's what one of the things was. It said the customer understands that they will be force-fed everything and not limited to fecal matter, vomit, and their own vomit and everything else. And if they refuse to swallow, it will be forced down their throat.
Yeah, see that
Like,
that right there. You can't. That is
Sorry if anybody's eating while listening to this or watching this, but yes, but no.
Now,
it's just,
when it comes to like the torture and stuff, like again, I would endure. Like you could take my mouth shut, dude. Like at the end of the day, it's fake.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so I guess even technology ridden here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's circle this back real quick.
Right.
You're not going to scare me. You're not going to. I don't care how advanced. I don't care what it looks like, how it sounds. It's not going to. I don't mean like it's not going to impress me, but it's not going to impress me to the fact of I'm being taken out of this reality where this exists now.
Yeah, and it's
so when it comes to horror, when it comes to visual, when it comes to anything, whether it's on a movie or in real life, as far as like a haunted house, because that has advanced over time, especially like you were saying, like the torture. That's not technology based, but
no.
I will say I shouldn't say to make me forget, because we've talked about this before. As corny as it sounds, the movie Ted.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Made me completely forget that he was an animated bear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was how long ago?
Oh God, that was
6
years ago. Yeah, give or take 5 or 6 years ago.
No.
Way more?
Way more.
10 more? 10 years?
I don't have my phone because it's recording our awesome channel here.
Yeah, right.
But no, dude, you got to figure I was with somebody. I know who I was with when I was when that came out.
Right.
So it's been a while. But what I'm saying is that even at that, what is your biggest pet peeve on technology when it comes to movies? Because I know mine.
CG.
Okay.
CG.
Wait. When you say CG, what do you mean?
Computer generated image.
No,
so CGI.
No.
Sorry. Oh, you didn't mean literally.
No,
okay.
no. I mean, like, what CG irritates you?
Okay. So, for instance, I believe it was for Lord of the Rings, or maybe it was for The Hobbit, or whatever, or to the fact. The common trope that happens with movies that are riddled with CG, and it's like nothing is real.
Yeah.
That is very, very offensive to those that take that very seriously. Now, I understand that Peter Jackson is limited on what he can show with Middle Earth. Middle Earth is ridiculous. So it's CG should only be used when what you're trying to do, if practical is impossible, that is when CG is used.
Right.
If the director is just pissed off that day and doesn't want to deal with the orc costume, you tell him to fuck off and you bring in that orc costume and you get everything done. This is the problem with filmmaking now, is that people
are impatient.
They're impatient. Also, the special effects guys are actually some of the most I don't want to say hated, but they annoy everybody on set the most. And the reason is because when, for instance, we were watching that, which if you're into film and if you've not seen the 4-hour behind the scenes of Rob Zombie's Halloween, you have to sit down.
You were going to say that.
You have to sit down and watch it. I watched it.
Are you talking about the head smash scene?
Oh, I mean, that alone is an example, but it was, it was just, it's crazy.
It's one of those things, and I could see where you're saying, because they're like, no, that's not going to look right.
Yeah.
Just because you're like, okay, cool, the blood pack exploded, everybody's gonna pick that apart.
And Rob knows that.
Exactly.
And that's what I love about it.
He is a director, a writer, and filmmaker that takes the time to go, look, man, sorry that was a 16-hour day. And he is. And I've heard personally from people that he's worked with when I've gone to like horror cons and stuff.
Yeah.
I met Danielle Harris and stuff and she's like, he is a phenomenal man to work for. Mm-hmm. But he respects the art.
Yeah.
Okay, I know he's had some crazy things and kind of shitty things here and there, but as far as respecting the art, like he keeps a lot of things practical. And what irritates me is, I think me and you are on the same page. Like you said, if you can't do it, then make it CGI. There's a few things that were okay, and even like the advancements. Now, you were saying like the Lord of the Rings. Now, to me, like Harry Potter stands out for me.
Yeah.
Because that is a lot of magic, wizard, flying, all this.
Yeah, you can't show a Patronus charm like practically. Like that's not something that can happen that way.
That is a movie that you go into knowing that that's going to be. Now again, you can do green screen and things, like you can do real life, effects and stuff like that. But
yeah,
that is a movie you kind of expected that for. Now, when it comes to like an action or horror movie, that's when I start having a problem.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to, with the exception of, I apologize for forgetting the director's name, but like blood especially is big for me.
David Fincher.
Yeah,
thank you. David Fincher is he is a perfectionist. When to the like asshole degree, and it is absolutely justified. 100% justified.
When you showed me a couple things that I found out was not even real blood.
Oh yeah, it was the girl with the dragon tattoo. It was that VFX reel that they did. Yeah,
I was completely blown away.
David Fincher does not use one bit of practical blood. It is all digital. Digital.
Fucking mind-blowing to me, because it looks so real. So that is where technology and CGI should be used, because he just knows that can be messy. But you know what he's done? He has his niche, he has his genre, he has his thing. So when he knows that his blood looks good, he doesn't have to worry about it.
Right.
And now you have saved hundreds of hours throughout movies not having to clean an actor up, taking time out.
Yeah.
So there's where technology is advanced. But that being said, that is a, I don't want to say minor thing, but that's a minor thing compared to something in a movie when it comes to special effects. I miss the 80s, 90s, early 2000 movies and TV shows that you were blowing up real fucking vans and houses. You were putting cuts on people for real and having tubes come out their back and just destroy blood out of their neck. Like it was awesome. It looked so good.
Now, real quick, in case if anybody, I highly doubt this is the case, but I'm just covering my ass. That way there's not like, oh, spoiler, you're an asshole, man. If you've not seen Avengers Endgame, this is your chance to get out of here now if you've not seen it. So 5, 4, 3. All right, you're already gone.
And it's been how many years? So get the fuck with it if you haven't seen it.
Here's something crazy that I did not even notice whatsoever. I'm hoping I can blow your mind with this. Robert Downey Jr. had no prosthetics on him at the end when he was burned, when he snapped. That's all CG.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly,
because they didn't know what the final look was going to be.
Yeah, and where I had a slight problem with that.
Really?
'Cause you could tell.
Oh, I was too busy crying, so I couldn't.
I
really
know,
tell. So-
I know you were, and that's not a shot at you, but I wasn't. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I don't really. I mean, especially with a movie like that, but I could see it. But at the same time, again, when you have a movie like, okay, again, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, The Avengers, all of the Marvel movies, you go in knowing, for fuck's sake, Thanos was completely CGI. So was the Hulk. Like, so is the, you know what I mean?
and their suits.
There's exactly.
And that to me was the
That
most
is
impressive.
impressive, though.
Yeah, because again, they had no idea. They did not even have, I think, like concept art done yet. They were
That
like, we
was
needed to
impressive.
get this done, and it's so because every time that we were seeing pictures of them on set, they had these red tracking marks on them, and we're like, what are those for?
Yeah.
And it's like now we know. Oh shit! It's like it was the white quantum suits. Like it's and they're all fake. Like it's
All of
my
them.
god,
And
it's
that's
so
where-
good. And there's close-ups. There's like anyway. so,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's exactly. So when it comes to that, you expect that.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I expect that anymore. Probably the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
You expect that with something like that when you're like, oh, here comes the new Matrix.
Right.
But you know it's going to be digital, this and that. Well, obviously, yes, the Matrix. But you know what I mean? Like, ever since movies like that were coming out, and even some TV shows, you always went in expecting that kind of like CGI, green screen, something of that effect, and that was fine. But when you go from, let me see here, like when you go from like okay, even the first Freddy Krueger to a new one, the first Saw to now the new one, the first the new Predator compared to the original, like those were real effects.
Yeah.
Like I said, you were blowing up real things. You were putting you were hiding the fact that somebody was missing an arm and then had this awesome prosthetic and, you know, all of these things.
Yeah.
That made it so real to me. And that's what made it fun.
Yeah.
Technology is almost so advanced that it's almost taking away.
Oh, without a doubt. And this is why I revere directors like David Fincher and James Gunn, who directed Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I believe it was the very first meeting he had with his production team, specifically his visual effects department, you know, and like what he was expecting from them, the concept art that he was saying to them, like, this is what I want these places to look like. This is from the comics. Like, and by the way, James Gunn is the only director that made a friend of mine who hates when comic book movies are made into films because they don't follow the comics. He's like, my friend, it was Andy. He looked at me. He said, dude, he's like, now granted, this was Guardians of the Galaxy 1 was not an actual issue. He's like that, like of the comic book of, you know, that, you know, a certain group of heroes. He said, however, he said the moments that were big in this film of, like, you know, the climatic battles or the way that Rocket would climb through vents or like all that stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, James Gunn literally pulled those out of the comic books. He's like, I got emotional a lot watching this movie because he's like, it was like I was 12 again reading my comics in my room.
That's different.
Yeah, and it's so, but what it came down to is that he looked at his production team. That was just a little tidbit, but he looked at his production team and he's gone on record and he said, if Rocket and Groot do not look real, I will not make this movie.
I remember that.
And
I do remember that.
Now, I have some nitpicks as far as Groot is concerned. Like when he shouts, I am Groot, and his like mouth should actually be this, and he's like, I am Groot. Like it's like he like shouts like, sorry about that. I didn't mean to scare you. It's okay, Bubba's. It's okay. It's okay, Bubba's. But no, it's small little things like that. I can forgive that. Like that's because there's so much attention to detail throughout the entire thing that they took it so seriously. It's just it's great.
When you can ignore little things like that, that's when you've done your job, I feel.
Yeah, and it's Yeah.
Even one last thing. I know we're going to probably wrap up here in a few minutes.
Yeah, tonight was kind of ironically, like I said, we had technical issues, and they may still be continuing or not or whatever. But it's honestly it's black. But regardless with this is that this is the other issue with technology is that it doesn't always work, and so it's one of those things where it's like that's why. It's good to go back to your roots, like when it comes to like CG and things like that, because it's the idea that maybe we should go with the thing that actually helped us out in the beginning. Yeah. It's that's what's so mind blowing to me about like if you're a director that genuinely cares about your vision, and I get there's politics, there's there's all the bullshit you have to deal with, all the stiffs and suits where it's like no, you have to make this day. Like look at any behind the scenes with Steven Spielberg making Jaws and how much he just wanted to end himself.
Yeah,
like it's so I understand it's not always that simple. However, I feel like if I was in that position and I would make a declaration of saying, look, I want that extra $30 million because we need to make costumes and we need to do this. I want that extra $5 million because, hey, you know what? I need my character to have no pupils. I need you to figure out how to do that.
Would you?
It's that kind of thing.
Okay, real quick, let's take 5 because I can see the clock. Let's take maybe 5 minutes here, and I'm going to ask you a question. As a filmmaker, director, writer, all of these things. Mm-hmm. Would you sacrifice a entire scene of something to, like you were saying, regain that money to do something throughout the movie or show that had real visual effects instead? Would you sacrifice 30 seconds of a clip here to be able to save money, to be able to put it towards non-CGI stuff?
Let me answer that question with a very small story.
Okay.
The answer is no, I would not sacrifice anything. I would fight tooth and nail to be sure that we have everything that we need. And here's why. This is, and I'm not trying to stroke my ego here or anything, but like I want to say this because this is it was so simple and it was so effective. So back in the day, I've mentioned it a couple of times, but me and my friends made a movie called Morbid.
Yeah.
It's a found footage film. It will never be shown to the public, mainly because one section of it's missing, and I still can't find it, and it's gone forever.
Dun, dun, dun.
The lost episode. So, which we have one. But, so essentially the way that the scene was working was that my friend Sammy, mm-hmm. basically we were working it out to where we knew how we wanted this scene to happen, and it was all from the perspective of this camera that was set down on a desk, right? Now, the perspective of where I was sitting and where Sammy was way, way, way behind me in the laundry room.
Okay.
What we figured out was that there was enough obstructions there, like washers, dryers, laundry baskets, all that stuff. I wanted Sammy to be standing there when I bent down to pick something up, and he was going to be like this.
Yeah.
And when I came back up, I was going to close my laptop and get up, and Sammy was going to be gone. Now, it was one of the most effective things I have ever directed in my life, and it was just a teaser trailer. It was in a basement in a duplex that looked like shit, and it still was done to make to convey what we wanted to, was that there's something scary going on here.
Yeah.
Something is in the background, even though it's one of my friends in the film. It's like, why are they gone? To me, that was not CG. That was all done in camera. Personally, I personally think that Hollywood would not be able to put up with me, because I'm such a fucking stickler when it comes to those things where it's like, well, no, it's like we have our department over here working on the CG list. It's like, no, we have contacts. You're going to put them in our actors' eyes.
That's what I'm saying. Is would you sacrifice? Like I'm saying, like as a budget, if it was one of those, you could do this for $50,000, and you're like, no, I'd rather like you said, $50,000. I'd rather buy the contacts. I want to buy the blood packs. I want to do this. I want to do that.
Okay, yeah, that's. I'm sorry.
That's what I was asking.
I'm still meaning the same thing. I just didn't understand the. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
I wanted to see if would you sacrifice like not having to have maybe a 30-second clip or something like that to be able to put it towards practical things throughout the entire film.
Practical the whole way. Like Evil Dead. The new one, the remake. That was so fucking good. It was just like everything was practical in that movie except for the we've mentioned it before, but the bag, when it was on her head, obviously again. Practical was impossible in that situation.
You can't.
You use CG. So it's like this is the common sense thing that I like. It makes me just want to shake directors because it's like I expect this shit from George Lucas. I don't expect this shit from Steven Spielberg or anybody else, when they're doing stuff because George Lucas does not care what he has to do to tell his story. He'll fill his entire movie with CG because he has 300 characters that he needs to get fit in there in one day. So it's like I get that. On the other hand, too, you have Scorsese who does not give a shit about continuity. The continuity in his films is horrible. He doesn't care because he has a story to tell. It's one of those things where it's like, he's been hitting that cigarette for 10 minutes and the length hasn't gone down. I don't care. He needs to have a cigarette in his hand the whole time he's talking.
Because it proves a point.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's where that's honestly that's the biggest bitch I have about Deadpool.
Really?
Is his eyes.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's because
that's fake.
It is straight from the comics. And at first I thought it was going to hit me wrong, but the more and more I started to see how much they just didn't give a shit, and they were like, no, we're making his eyes animated because that's how Deadpool was in the comics. I can forgive that. However, I wish it did look a little less cartoony, which that's
where it draws me out a little bit.
Yeah.
That's where I was saying is like, dude, you spent probably more on the beginning credits of this fucking movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could, honestly, I would have sacrificed that. That's what I'm saying is, would you have sacrificed the beginnings of the movies the way they started if you could have made his eyes real and done that? See, that's what I'm asking.
Damn.
That's the kind of shit I'm asking.
No, I can't.
Come on, dude.
No,
Kyle, come on. Don't do me dirty.
No. Because the intro is such a necessity, and it has to look good for that intro.
No, I'm talking about the credits.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The credits, the opening credits,
you know what? I'll be like, just fly them up through real quick. Even still be funny with the names. I'm just saying,
right.
Nah, come on, Kyle. Don't do that to me.
Just, dude,
lie to me then and say yes. I would just do.
Yes, I would just do white credits and
to sacrifice
to make his eyes look real.
Thank you.
There we go.
Okay.
No, but I honestly there are sometimes I can forgive certain things or sometimes I can't, and that's one of the things that I was able to forgive because it's now what I will say is not forgivable. At first was the floating head syndrome that Mark Ruffalo had, which it's not his fault, but the floating head syndrome that he had at the end of Infinity War when he was in the Hulkbuster. Now come to find out, the reason why that looked like looked absolutely horrible was because the script originally planned for him to become Professor Hulk in the middle of that battle and bust out of the suit and then fight back that way.
Oh.
What they realized was that was too jarring with everything that was going on in Infinity War because that was such a jam-packed movie with everything they were trying to do. So they had to change it at the last second. So so now obviously I get it, that didn't work, and Professor Hulk looked fucking great in Endgame. Him and Thanos both looked real. They both looked great.
Here's what I'm saying. Hear me out.
Okay.
If I can have a movie, plural.
Movies.
I don't care what genre, and even at the sci-fi horror, think about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a person. You have to get fucked up with it. We had full-grown men in suits, prosthetics, makeup in the movies. Again, Predator, Aliens, Jim Carrey and the Grinch, for fuck's sake.
Right.
You're telling me Ryan Reynolds, we can't make his eyes look white without using fucking cartoons?
I think
that's where I start having problems.
The pupils would be the issue.
It doesn't matter.
It's no. What I'm saying is like the interior of the eyes of like having that like. Because if I'm thinking about how I would do it, I know how I would want to do it. Is that I would want to essentially have the eyes and the mask essentially be like a second skin on his skin, to where like you can see everything that's going on with his face. The issue that you would have, and you would still have to CGI it, is his eyes. You would essentially have to do what they did with Bill Skarsgård in It, and like when they brightened up his eyes and they rotoscoped his eyes. You would still have to get that white effect, because it's not as easy as taking those black contacts that they use for Supernatural to make them have the demon eyes, where like their pupils are still visible but the rest of the eyes are black. You can't invert that because your pupils are black, and so your irises they're the darker color. That's where it starts to get complicated, and that's where it would just be like, because even for the idea that I have for the middle, like when I was talking about how I wanted my character's eyes to look, where it's like I want them to not have pupils or irises. So it's like when you think like when a director or a writer brings that to a visual effects department, they're gonna want to fucking kill them.
What I'm saying is that even if it's CGI, look at the fact of.
Oh, you mean like it looks so good in other movies? Why did it look so bad in that?
Yes.
Okay, I get you.
You can get blood splatter from David Fincher. You mean he can't be like, look, man, this is all you got to do for his eyeballs?
I think honestly, eyes are the window into the soul, and it's like that's something that's very, very difficult to replicate. That's that's one of the things that Naughty Dog talked about with the new technology. They're like, we can finally do close-ups on them in CG.
I guess that is a weird bitch about it, but I was just saying, think about where we used to be. With demons and things and and I don't mean Pennywise, but like I'm just saying like. Things in general, like all of the things I was saying, like all of these movies, and they were you could physically touch them.
Right.
Like, I don't know. That just really irritates me sometimes when I look at things as far as how technology used to be to where we are at today.
Yeah.
Like I said, we are in a world where we can physically see whatever we want, wherever we want, when we want.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I know my phone is fucking up for some reason, but
I'm going to choose a really good picture for you. Don't you worry.
But I can take that device and look at my daughter in her bedroom, miles, anywhere in the world, actually, and hear her and talk to her.
Yeah.
I have a camera that she can have in her bed, and I don't even have to be in the same household. It has nothing to do with me and her mother not being together. It's the fact of, let's say me and her were together and we wanted to go on a date or whatever it is. Even if it doesn't matter that we don't not trust the person, but say you and Christy were over babysitting, it would be just the fact of, oh, it's 10 o'clock. Let's check in on Chandler.
Yeah.
You could see her.
Yep.
And then go about your night. There is just something about technology that is always reassuring, but there's always something about technology that is scary.
Yeah, and this is where I try not to think about it too much, because it's like when those nanny cams or whatever, like not the nanny cams, but what are they? The ones in the cribs, like when that became a big thing, when it was like the night vision, things. It's like I guess there was an instance where some guy was able to actually like talk to the kid through the camera and was like, "Hey baby, are you sleeping?" Like, it's that, like trying to like scare them or whatever. And so it's like that does bother me. Like that very, very much does. But in the same hand, I feel like if you're somebody that has that type of technology, you have taken already the precautions to protect yourself.
Yes.
It's kind of like some guy walking into a war zone without an M16.
Right.
It's like, no, you know what you're going up against.
I buy phones, I buy laptops, I buy cameras, knowing full well that I've been hacked. I've had my router hacked. And, to where it happens. It really does. And I don't mean to just be like, meh, but it is. This day and age, it's a crazy world to live in.
Yeah.
And I just really think that we have taken advantage of a lot of things.
We have.
And I think we've gotten lazy with, I guess here real quick. Do you know Mom's phone number offhand?
Yes.
You know it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to say it on here, but yes, I do know mom's cell phone number.
Fuck you, edit this out.
No, I'm not editing it out. This is going to be so deep into the video.
No, I'm just saying in the fact of, see, that's where I hate technology, is the fact that I have become a different person as far as keeping myself in line. If I lose any of my technology at the moment, and I hate to say this, if my phone breaks, I don't know your phone number.
Yeah.
I don't know mom's phone number. I know 911.
Yeah.
I'm serious because
you're not alone. I mean, trust me. Mom and Christy's phone numbers are the only twos that I really have memorized.
I mean, I know more. I'm being a little dramatic, but at the same time, no, I really do not know your phone number. I hit K.
Yeah.
For Kyle.
Yeah.
And I don't know directions. My directions have been told to me for 20 years. That's where it starts becoming different and where it becomes like a crutch. Like I said, technology is awesome, but it also hurts us at the same time because what are you going to do?
Well, I try to find a healthy balance because I mean, actually, it's a Billy Gardellism. Whereas when he was just like, he's like, I don't want my kid to be soaked
this
up.
is a video game.
Yeah, he's like, my dad says this is a video. Yeah, it's when he's like playing marbles or whatever.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with a good game of marbles.
But
Like,
I know you're saying the same thing I was saying, is that you have to have that balance. You do, and I try to, but at the same time, technology can be very scary.
Yeah.
So that being said, I think
it's being done. When it's done correctly.
I'm gonna watch you do something on your technology board here.
Yes, we are. This is us introing out,
fading into the music.
That's right. Everything comes full circle. So
hey guys, sorry for this fucked up technology podcast. That my $1,000 phone literally was like, nah, I'm cool, dude.
Hey, well, here's the thing: is that this is kind of taking pages from Deep Fat Fried. Sometimes Paul just has an icon up the entire time, and he doesn't give a shit. So you know what? And people will still listen to us. You know why?
But
Because
I'm
we
the
have
handsome one. People want to.
I want to thank everybody for listening this week. It has been an absolute pleasure. I may be seeking a new co-host after this, but sorry, you were drinking. I'm sorry. But nevertheless, we appreciate you guys listening this far.
Thank you guys.
If you are in fact listening this far, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Adios.
Deuces. We need to spend more money on our technology. Fuck this.